Today I'm going to share with you a version of our story, the story of the First Unitarian Society of Plainfield. Our story begins in the Gilded Age, when the air in New York City was fouled by smoke from factories and coal-burning stoves. A rail line was built in Plainfield, and elites from New York City flocked here, building their summer homes. Plainfield was a young, booming city then. Unitarianism was also going through a great change and coming into the modern period, marked by rationalism, recognition of universal religion, large acceptance of the scientific method and ideas, and an ethical attempt to realize that what was perceived to be the higher affirmations of Christianity. Many Plainfield elites were Unitarians, including Job Mayle, the first mayor of the city of Plainfield. On July 10, 1889, a formal meeting was held in the Free Library to establish a board and to elect trustees for the new Unitarian congregation. Job Mayle was one of the newly elected trustees. The Reverend William P. Tilden was the first minister of the new congregation. On January 13, 1890, the society held its first annual meeting with 44 members on the roll. A special meeting in February of 1891, the congregation voted to build a stone structure on the current property site on Park Avenue. The architect O.M. Teal designed the building with rusticated stone, multiple windows, turrets, and towers placed asymmetrically. The new building was completed in April 1892 and christened All Souls Church a month later. At the dedication, the Reverend Hobart Clark explained that within its doors, all souls, whatever their belief or want of belief, whatever their worldly circumstance or spiritual needs, shall find a welcome, a refuge, and a home. The Reverend Allison Robinson, for whom the large stained glass window in the sanctuary is named, was a strong leader in social justice. He served as minister from 1919 to 1944. When World War II erupted, the church voted to recognize conscientious objectors and provide any necessary protection for them. At the same time, many of the members of the congregation served in the military. At one point, Reverend Robinson was personally corresponding with 90 Unitarian men in the service. After World War II, First Unitarian continued to grow. The Stevens Wing was added to the building in 1958 to accommodate the large number of children attending. The wing was named for Helen and Horace Stevens. The rose window in the sanctuary was installed to honor the Stevens family as well. Their daughter was Mary Vick Griswold, and their granddaughter, Vicky Griswold, is still a member of First Unitarian. By the late 1950s, civil rights and race issues were coming to sharp focus for the congregation. At the annual meeting in 1959, several resolutions were adopted that included that the life of the Civil Rights Commission be extended, that Unitarian churches be urged to achieve full integration, that the congregation be life members of the NAACP, and that the House Committee on Un-American Activities be abolished. In 1964, near the time of the race riots, or the Plainfield Rebellion, the following announcement was run in the Courier News. The First Unitarian Society of Plainfield rejoices in the passage of the Civil Rights Bill. As always, we welcome people of all races. In addition to race issues, the church was involved with voter registration, protesting police violence, and addressing poverty and education issues in Plainfield. In 1964, First Unitarian was still the domain of the elites of the city. Member David Frost remarked that it was easier to run for Senate than to run for a seat on the Board of Trustees back then. The marked border between the two areas of Plainfield, rich and poor, contributed to the race riots in July of 1967. Now known as the Plainfield Rebellion, the events were part of a series of racially charged episodes that also impacted other cities like Newark, New Jersey. By the end of the week-long disturbances, one police officer was dead and over 50 citizens were injured. Another 100 people were arrested for looting and rioting by the time the National Guard and state police were pulled out of the city. While many people and the congregations they belonged to fled Plainfield, this congregation remained committed to the Queen City. In part, this is due to her historic landmark building, in part because of a sense of obligation to Plainfield, and in part it is her members' sense of social justice and service that keeps this congregation here. In the past 60 years, the congregation was involved with women's rights, gay and lesbian issues, homelessness, mental health, and anti-war campaigns. First Unitarian has also been a center of culture and the performing arts in Plainfield, notably with the Parish Players and most recently Act 4 Productions. Members and friends express their creativity and created community in that building. First Unitarian has been a place of communion, a place to educate our children and youth in our core values. It has been a place of transitions and remembrances. It has been a place of traditions and memories. Social justice issues continue to be a relevant and important aspect of congregational life. The congregation has a successful food ministry, including a monthly food pantry. For many years, the congregation served hot meals to hungry or homeless people in the community on major holidays. We have partnered with many local organizations in Plainfield that work to improve the lives of Plainfield citizens. In 2009, the congregation embarked on an ambitious project to preserve our building. We repaired the foundation, replaced the roof, and completed many other projects to make sure that the building would stand for another 100 years. Over the next several years, we came to a difficult crossroad. It is one that many churches have come to. Demographic change and a change in how people interact with religious communities led to a precipitous drop in membership and attendance in general, and in religious education attendance in particular. We are still serving our community, yes. In fact, we were meeting the needs of Plainfield residents better than ever with our commitment to using our building as a community asset. But every year, our budget was a little smaller, the services we could provide fewer, and our community was drifting. With fewer people giving all of their energy and maintaining an aging building, we were not able to give the focus we wanted to an outward service. At the end of the day, First Unitarian is not a place. It's our people. In the spring of 2018, the congregation voted to make a legacy gift of our building. 1 year ago, we said goodbye to our building and gave it to the people of Plainfield. The mayor of Plainfield, Adrian Mapp, pledged to use the legacy gift of the Park Avenue building and grounds for the benefit of the surrounding community. That is the end of this story, but is not the end of our story at First Unitarian. In the past year, we have created a new space for our precious community and made every new commitment to service and love in Fanwood, New Jersey. We still serve the Plainfield community by sponsoring a food pantry that is housed at Crescent Avenue Presbyterian Church, and we meet on Sundays at 3:30 p.m. at Fanwood Presbyterian at the corner of Marion and McDermott. We hope you join us.